I had a lot of people die in my hands while I was over there. I almost died a lot of times, and I think what really messed me up the most was just seeing people lie to get awards. I mean, I could, fight wars and almost die and have people die in my hands, it's fine. But I mean, just seeing like a soul fall apart in front of you as somebody's just trying to lie and just do anything for an award. Napoleon said a man will fight long and hard for a bit of colored ribbon. And just seeing that in action, where people are just fighting and lying for a bit of colored ribbon, it just breaks your heart, breaks you inside, just to see that time and time again. And and just coming home. One of the reasons I wrote this book was, I talk about it in here, and I was on a date with this girl, and she starts talking about this newspaper article she had read in one of these local newspapers, Hometown Hero piece. And it's about this guy that just came back from Iraq and what a hero he is. How he's the epitome of an American soldier. He's just this perfect GI. And she's telling me about this story, and I'm like, oh, I enjoy a good war story. I enjoy heroes. And I'm like, what's the guy's name? She's like, oh, it's Lollydash. This guy wrote about it. This guy served in Iraq, and not only was he a hero, he's one of the biggest dirtbags in the entire unit. So I called up a buddy of mine. I was like, you're not going to believe this. This is what they're saying about Lollydash. And I called my buddy, and the first thing he says is, let's go burn this guy's house down. So I'm like, So I mean, there just was this aspect of people come home, and there's a lot of real heroes in the military. There's a lot of really great guys in the military, real heroes, but there's also guys that chase ribbons, fight for a bit of colored ribbons, and it happens. Yeah. The instance he's talking about in Iraq is me and a few buddies were nominated for these awards, and we're like, we don't want these awards, we don't have to stand up there and look like idiots, it's just like in high school when you have to stand up there and get your participation trophy. We're like, we don't really want to do this. And then on the other side, you've got people that were petitioning to change military regulations so that they can get an award because something happened, they didn't qualify for it. Everyone wanted a combat action badge, and that's what everyone wanted to lie about. And an explosion, an ordnance exploded far away from these people, but it didn't. It was an unexploded ordnance because the terrorists took out all the gunpowder, so it didn't explode. They just basically shooting a rock at us. But these guys, they thought they would have qualified for an award, but not really. So they're trying to change Army regulations just so they can get this award. And then later on at the end, this guy wanted me to lie so he can get an award, and I'm like, dude, I don't even like you. I'm not gonna. maybe I'd at least think about it if I liked you, but I don't even like you. It's just this bad aspect, and it just tears at your heart. When you're fighting for these things and you think you're fighting for something, and then you've got these guys wearing the same uniform as you that are just fighting for that ribbon.
Right. I mentioned that passage where you're talking to the Vietnam vet, and he's saying, I'd rather have somebody spit on me than shake my hand. You talk, and one hears elsewhere, there's a book called Thank You for Your Service, and talk about the resentment of veterans and yourself about, a kind of fawning attitude, a sort of shallow curiosity that maybe doesn't want to hear about the non-heroes and that kind of stuff. But I wonder how should we, let's say, you see a soldier in uniform at the airport, do you say, thank you? Do you just let him be? Or at the bar with a friend who served? How would you recommend for those of us who are civilians for life and to talk to you, approach you, attitudes as friends, strangers?
Yeah. So I'll tell you two quick stories. One story was after the publication of my first book. I met thousands of vets at things just like this. And I remember talking to a lot of Vietnam vets, and they would say, "Oh, thank you for your service," and I would say, "Thank you for your service." And this must have happened to me a dozen times. Where I had a Vietnam vet say, "No one's ever said that to me before." I was like, "Oh, geez," I can understand, not supporting the war. The Vietnam War was what it is. Iraq War is what it is. So I can understand. People had that sensation, but to go 50 years for people not even to recognize that you were willing to give up your life, you went over and did this, and now it's 2000 whatever, and I'm the first person to say that to like a dozen people. I think the other end of this is to go back to one of those dating classes. So I took one of those dating classes, and this was one of those inner game ones. It was a really good one where you work on those inner games. I remember this one scene well, this one time during one of these exercises, there was this big guy, masculine guy, and we're doing this like internal meditation exercise, and this really big guy, masculine guy, he had this like breakthrough, right, where he just realized something about himself, something about life, and he's having this really big breakthrough, and he starts crying, right? He's having just one of those cathartic cries, right? That full body cathartic cry. He just realized something about his life, and he's having this perfect breakthrough. And right in the middle of this, right in the middle of his cry and cathartic moment, one of the other guys in the dating course walks up to him and is like, "Oh, awesome breakthrough, high five, dude." And he's just like, he's right in the middle of this like cathartic full body cry, like, and he just realized something about his life, and the guy's just like, "Oh, high five, dude." I feel like sometimes vets coming back from war, they're in that zone, you know, and sometimes someone comes up to you, can just feel like, "Oh, high five, dude," you know, where it's like, you know, you really don't know what's going on inside me, and you don't realize, you know, maybe what you're thanking me for, what kind of went through, and especially when you first come back, I think you're in that zone, and it can feel just like, "Oh, high five, dude," you know.
Yeah.